Hi everybody, welcome to week 6 of our course. Now for this week, you're going to be revising your debunking stereotypes assignments and submitting them to me in the final draft form by Sunday night at midnight. Now, by now, most of you should have the feedback from your peer groups. So take those comments into consideration when you're in the middle of the revising process, since these first drafts, since this first paper it's your first major written assignment. So take it seriously, take the revision process seriously. Now, just a note about the way that I'm grading your work in this process, since this is our first major written assignment. Most of you had no trouble following the directions, uploading your documents into Google and sharing them with me, and then posting your link in Blackboard. But some of you did run into hiccups, so I do want to clarify before we go any further. The assignments do have to be uploaded in Google. They have to be shared with me. If it's an early draft, it has to also be shared with your peer groups. But then the link to the shared document has to also be posted in Blackboard. So in the submission box for that week's module, you'll see a place where you can actually insert the link, and that's what you need to be doing. And so, I just want to clarify that if you don't share the document with me, and if you don't post the link in Blackboard, I can't assume that you've done the work. It's not fair to your classmates who have followed directions. So make sure that if you are completing the assignments by the due dates, that you're sharing the documents with me and that you're posting them in Blackboard. Because again, I cannot automatically assume that you're doing the work that you're supposed to be doing on time if you're not posting them in the correct places or sharing the document with me. So, and the Blackboard link is really important because if you're in Google and you share it with your peer groups but you forget to share it with me, then if there's a link in Blackboard, I can log into Blackboard, I can see that not only did you submit the link in Google and upload it, that you did it by the due date. And so I have no trouble getting to your document and can give you a grade. So moving forward, make sure that you are following directions when you're submitting your work, because we're an online class, we don't meet face to face. I don't get to ask you about why your assignment wasn't submitted in Blackboard. I just have to assume that you didn't do it. So, and if you run into problems, if you're trying to upload a document in Google, I'm happy to help you troubleshoot, but you do have to communicate with me. So, I would advise you to work on that process a little bit sooner than Sunday night at 11:59, okay? Now, if you submit the first draft by the due date, you get full credit. So you'll remember that there is a participation grade in our class, and that there's 8 grades that are included in that participation grade, and that is submitting early drafts and peer review process. So this should be an easy 100 points for you guys for everything. You should have perfect scores in the peer review and the early drafts, since participation umbrella grade in your syllabus. If you submit by the due date an early draft, you get 100 points. Easy. That's all I need from you, just to see that you're putting forth the effort and submitting the work on time. And if you do the peer review process and you take it seriously with all your group members, that should be another 100 points. So again, the participation grade is really, as long as you're doing the work and you're putting the thought and the effort into it, it should be cake. So there really shouldn't be any reason why everyone's not getting 100 points in that participation. But that is how I'm giving you guys credit. So as long as you're submitting that peer review, or as long as you're submitting the peer review comments and you're putting some thought into them, and as long as you're submitting the early draft, then you should be golden. Now, that said, I do want to make a few notes about the peer review process. I've been really pleased with a lot of your comments. It seems that the majority of you are really taking the time to give your classmates some really thorough feedback and really read and evaluate the work your classmates are doing, and I appreciate that. That's wonderful. But there are a couple of you who are not following the rubric, or don't seem to be following the rubric. So just to clarify, there is a rubric. I believe it's listed in week 2 that talks about the peer review process and what we're going to be doing, and it breaks down how I'm grading you moving forward as peer reviews. Now, a couple of you submitted to your classmates 1 or 2 lines tops in an email, and that's not sufficient. I think bare minimum per the rubric is that you're submitting at least a paragraph of strengths and at least a paragraph of points of revision, and that is bare minimum. I mean, if you do notes in the margin, even better, but I need to see that you're actually putting forth effort. So sending an email to your classmate with 1 sentence or 2 is not sufficient. So when if anyone is confused, as I'll be doing the grading the first part of this week, so you'll see your grades posted in Blackboard. But if anyone is confused about his or her grade, I would encourage you to look at that rubric first and to let me know if you have any questions, because I do want to clarify, but again, it's not fair to classmates who are putting forth the extra time and the extra effort if you're going to read and give your classmates a one-line comment. That doesn't really help. And the point of this process is to help each other out. So, and if you check your grade in Blackboard in the next couple of days and you've got a 0 for the peer review process, but you know that you gave your classmates comments, I would encourage you to check your email. Make sure that you submitted it to me. Make sure that I was copied on the email. And if you just forgot to copy me on the email, no big deal. It's an easy fix. Just forward me the email that you sent to your classmates so that I can see the time. And as long as you got your classmates' feedback within the parameters of the assignment, so within this past week, then I'll reevaluate your grade. So just keep me posted. If you see something in the grade book that you don't think is accurate, I'll go back and I'm happy to look. But as soon as, we get a chance to get together and figure out what went wrong, maybe I just didn't get copied, maybe it got lost in my junk mail folder. I just want to make sure that I'm giving credit where credit is due. So be looking for your grades in the next couple days. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. So for this week, again, be sure to submit your final draft in Blackboard, the link, and then have it posted in Google Docs and shared with me by Sunday night at midnight. I would encourage each of you to review your draft in Google. Sometimes, depending on what program you're using on your own computer, whether it be Pages or Word or even different variations of Word, Google can take your document and it may change the format. So before you share the document with me, just go through really quickly and make sure that your formatting is all the same. Make sure that your citations and your works cited page are still accurately cited. So just do a quick review. It's a good habit to get in. Just make sure that everything looks good before you actually submit it. And aside from that final draft, what you're also going to be doing for me this first week is reading a chapter in your textbook on thinking and reading critically. And you're going to also submit a reading assignment in Google Docs. And that's all posted in week 6 in the module for in Blackboard. So take your time on this reading assignment because it will probably take you some time. Just be sure that you give yourself plenty of time and know that you don't get to the last minute trying to submit it, because it is it's not a labor-intensive assignment, but it is one that you'll have to think about, and it may take you some time depending on what your schedule looks like, what you're trying to do in the process. So again, don't wait till the last minute. And that's really it for now. So have a great week. Good luck on the revising process, and as always, send me any questions or concerns that you might have as you get going in week 6, and that's it.